Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to my channel for another video. As you can see from the title below, today we will modify JavaScript arrays with functions. And before we get to do anything, I have a major announcement. Welcome to gadgetexpress.co.za, my first ever online store. And here's a quick overview of how the site looks. I do encourage you to go visit the site yourself. I will put a link in the description just for you to experience the interface firsthand. And when you click on this go shopping button, you will be taken to my shop catalog. And as you can see on my shop catalog, I have drones, earbuds, fitness trackers, keyboards, mouse pads, and yeah, I have a quite nice variety of products, and I hope you do find something that you would like to buy from here. And happy shopping. Even if you purchase one product or two, doesn't really matter, I'll appreciate it. And I will put a link in the description and a card on the right corner of this video. And if you go to my YouTube profile, you will also find the link to my site there. And now back to the video. Do make sure you subscribe to my channel, which ensures you having unlimited knowledge in the palm of your hand. So please do consider it. After all, it's free. So there are 4 functions I'll work with today, which are the push, pop, shift, and lastly unshift functions. Now you might be asking yourself, what are these functions and what do these functions do? Long story short, these functions just modify the array, either adding or removing elements to and from the array. Now let me tell you how these functions I mentioned work, or how these functions operate. Just keep in mind they all modify the arrays as I mentioned. So the first function, which is the push function, and this push function appends a new element to the end of the array. For this function to function, or should I say for all of these functions to function, a variable has to be declared. And I repeat, it has to be declared, and an array should be assigned to the variable, then followed by an argument and the function. Think of the push function as pushing something to the end of something. I mean, it's all in the name of the function. So for all the functions in this video work, what the basic meaning of the word is: push, pop, shift, unshift. They do exactly what the word says or means, the basic meaning of the word. So here's an example of pushing data into an array or pushing a new element into the array. So let me just comment it out that we are pushing a new element into the array using the push function. Using the push function. And yeah, so now since I did say you have to declare your variable, so this is where we declare the variable as always. And I'll make these the variable names sequential, just so that we can save time instead of trying to find names for the arrays, for the variables I mean. So I'll just call it array 1, then the next one will be array 2, and so on and so forth. So in the array, let's say maybe you want a numerical sequence, so 2, 4, 6, a basic numerical sequence, that's basic. And then maybe you want to finish this group of numbers and you want it to end at 10. So we want to push in the number 10 into this array. So what we have to do is type in the name of the array, then the push function. So notice how I put a period, then push, then brackets. So that's how the function is supposed to be written. And then within the brackets, this is where I put in what I want to be put in the array, or in other words, or in this case, pushed into the array. So I want to push in the number 10. I don't have to use strings because it's a number. And then now I won't be able to see this unless I put it in the console. So I have to put it in the console with the console.log method and write in the name of the variable. So I can save this, and then let's see how this looks in the console. and you do see I am given an array that has a length of 5 and 5 elements within it. So that is how you push elements to the end of an array, or in other words, or in this case, append elements to the end of the array. Now the second function, which is the pop function, there really isn't much to say about this one. It's all in its name, as it pops off the last element of an array. Anything can be popped off in the array as long as it's in the array, and anything, I mean absolutely anything can be popped off in the array as long as it's within the array. And everything can be popped off, so you can even pop off a nested array, numbers, strings. Just make sure it's within the array. We can also store the popped off values, and I'll show you an example of how to actually pop off, then I'll show you an example of storing the popped off values. So let's begin with popping off. So popping off values, popping off elements using the pop function. Okay, so that's that, using the pop function. So just like the other one, we have to declare the variable. So let's call it, and I did say I will make them sequential, so array2 will be the name of this array variable, and the square brackets. So maybe let's include a string in this array, and I'll write in MatrixCodeBreaker. Okay, so MatrixCodeBreaker has and then this can be that, and then let me add a number, has 150 subscribers, then the next string, subscribers. Thank you for 150 subscribers. Okay, and then now let's add in something odd, maybe just a number. Then we can be able to pop off that value. So now to pop it off, we do the exact same thing we did with array2, with array1 I mean. So array1 and then pop. The only difference is we do not put anything between these brackets, because the function by default or automatically knows to remove what's at the end of the array. And if you're thinking maybe if I wrote in the first string or wrote in the index of the first string, it would remove that, it would pop it off. Well, no, that won't work. The function is only made to pop off the last element at the end of the array. So now let's put this in the console and see how this works. So this is before we will store it. I just want you guys to see how it is before we store it. So that value will be popped off. It will be nowhere to be seen. It will just be gone, popped off, nowhere. And you do see it didn't pop off. So the reason it didn't pop off was because I put in 1 there, because that's not the name of the array that I wanted to be popped off. And it should have 3. Okay, I'm reloading this page, but it's not. Okay, let's see. Now you do see that it has a length of 3 and 3 elements because we popped off that number at the end. So I did say I'm going to show you how to store it. So to store it, all you have to do is declare another variable and assign what is being popped off to the new variable. So the const, I'll name this variable array3, and assign the popped off value to it. And then for us to see the value of array3, let's put it in the console. So console.log and in the brackets array3 and semicolon, and let's see how it is now. I should get that number at the bottom. So you do see I get 6,895 at the bottom of that. And that's how you pop off elements at the end of a array. Now what if you want to remove the first element in an array? This is where the shift function comes in, as it removes the first element of the array. Just the way we store popped off values, we can also store shifted values. And let me just comment it before I show you an example of shifted values. So I mean shifting elements. So you'll be using the shift function. Using the shift function to shift the elements. Okay, so now I can declare the new variable, which I will call in this case array 4. Am I right? Yes, array 4. So const array 4 and assign an array to it. And since we are shifting it, we are going to remove the first. So then I'll use this exact array. I'll just put the number at the beginning of the array instead of at the end. So yeah, put this here. And yeah, so once I put it here, then you'll be able to shift it. Okay, so then now we may shift it the same way we popped off and pushed. So all we have to do is write in the name of the array variable, which is array 4, right? Yeah, array 4, and then the shift function. So I'm sure you notice how I do not leave any space between the argument and the function. That's because the function won't really function if you leave space between the two. So this one is also the same. You don't have to put in anything between the two brackets, because by default this function already knows that it has to remove the first element in the array. So that's all you have to do, just write in the name of the function, and that's that. So let's save this and see how this looks in the console. And it says okay, so I might have not given the number. Okay, I didn't write in the number here. Okay, array 4. So let's see now. It should work now. And you do see I'm given a string, the exact same string, the exact same array with the string, number string, and with 3 elements. And that's how you shift the first element of an array. So now let's store the shifted value. The shifted element, value element, same thing. So I'll have to declare the new variable array, the variable which will be array 5, and assign the popped off value of array 4 to it, and then the shifted value. And then I put this in the console so that we can see what this is looking like. Array 5. And when I save this, I should get that number below it. And you do see I get the same number below it. So that's how you shift and store the shifted elements. Now we get to the final function for the video, which is the Unshift function. Now if you think about the name of this function and actually listen to what's the name and how we say it, you would realize or think that the function does the exact opposite of the shift function, because the word unshift is the negative of shift, which is correct because this function adds an element to the beginning of an array instead of removing the element from the beginning of the array. So it adds instead of removing. So here's an example of adding elements to the beginning. So I'll call it array 6. And for this one we cannot store it. We cannot store because we are adding. So there's no possible way to store. So let's use this sentence. That array, and maybe let's say I don't want this. I want a string to be added to the beginning, so I have to put in the name of the array, the new array, the name of the array variable. So array 6 unshift, and then the brackets just like the rest, and maybe I want the string to be put in the beginning, and let's say I want that to be caps. And now we can put this in the console so we can see how this looks in the console. So array 6, let's see how this, and I should get a string with the length of 4, and you do see I get a string with the length of 4, and that is how you unshift. And that is the end of the video. Shout out to you if you made it this far through the video. You are really appreciated. If you found this video informative or you simply just enjoyed the video, please do give the video a like. Please do share the video channel. If you'd like to spread the knowledge with your friends and family, do subscribe to stay up to date with my content.